While walking around, we decided to ask Dennis a little bit more about his family tree and the well-known Franconia logo picture.
Well, the picture, it's my great-great-grandfather in his brewery. That picture was taken 1845.
That is so cool.
And it's the original picture. It's usually black and white, but we were able to put some brown in it. So,
Yeah.
And I don't know if you look. I think you got the same beer belly.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, Dennis, we totally saw the resemblance. Spending time here, you could see this was a close-knit brewery family.
How did you get started in?
I needed a job, so I called Dennis and said, do you need any help?
That was it?
Yeah, he goes, what do you know about brewing? I said, absolutely nothing. I've never done it in my life.
Oh,
But I like drinking beer. And so he's like, okay, well, what do you know about it? I said, well, I have a science degree. I have a bachelor's degree in science, so I can do the sciencey stuff with it, but I really know nothing about the brewing process or anything like that. And he goes, okay, well, I need a guy to wash kegs, fill kegs, pretty much be a janitor for me, but in the process you can learn. And I said, well, that's fair enough for me, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but we're kind of in a recession, jobs are kind of hard to come by, so I said, yeah, I just need work, and so happily I accepted and came here and learned from Cam as much as possible, and learning all kinds of microbiology and everything else. I saw our delivery driver and I was like, oh yeah, we have a local brewery. And I've always wanted to learn. I've always thought it was an interesting kind of field to get into, and most brewers have a smile on their face, so.
Well, of course
He had no idea how nerdy about beer we actually all were until we started working here.
Yeah, Cam is what's known as a beer nerd.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah, without a doubt. So between him and Dennis and everything else, I'm really learning. I'm kind of an apprentice. I'm learning underneath these guys and doing what I can. It's one of the last few kind of guild apprenticeships type of
It's true. That's very true. It is very
fields. So my basic role here is to make sure everything gets done while trying to learn over there. Sometimes it's a bit difficult. Sometimes, as you guys saw earlier, I'm running in and out of the cold box. Well, then I have to run over there and, okay, where are you at in the process? Okay, you're sparging. Okay, it's this valve, and I trace it all the way back, and this valve, and because there's so many of them, and you don't, unless you use them on a daily basis or whatever, you don't really know what goes where. And so that's been a very slow process because we are so busy. But it's been fun.
So do you think it's going to be something you're going to continue with?
I truly hope so. I mean, I truly do. With the rate that we're growing, I mean, Cam's going to need help. Cam's going to basically need a second-hand man, and between the two of us, we should be able to run everything in the brewery. So if I'm over there brewing a beer one day, he can be over here doing this stuff, or vice versa. So that way, you're not doing the same thing every day, having to scrape out several thousand pounds of grain out of the mash tun every day whenever it's 110 degrees in here because we don't have air conditioning and that kind of stuff. So, whenever you get that chance to kind of trade off jobs, one, the brewery runs smoother because that allows people to take vacations and do whatever they do, but also it really allows Cam to rely on me and me to rely on Cam, and it really fills that teamwork kind of idea. So.
Very cool. Oh, is it hot dog?
I missed something.
Just say yes.
Yes, of course. This guy knows everything.
And we felt like a part of that family, especially after they shared Cam's keg adventure on Highway 75 a few days earlier.
A lot of kegs to take. We'll use the van outside, and we've got another pickup that's on its way down to Houston right now.
Nice.
OCL ship to Houston and
We do. We have probably 6 or 7 accounts down in the Austin area, and then just a couple more over in Houston.
So you guys just kind of draw straws on who's going down that far?
No, our delivery guy gets the short straw every other week. So. Yeah, he's got Houston today, and next week he'll probably have Austin and Oklahoma City.
Oh, fun.
And by we, he means our delivery guy.
Yeah, he gets to do it all.
So, can I have the new dolly, please?
What new dolly?
Huh?
What new dolly?
What new dolly? Should I show you the
talking about
dolly?
that one?
Here's the deal. I have more full kegs than you.
What are you talking about?
I have more full kegs than you. You have all six. I have 4 full kegs and 1 slim.
I love new dollies. Because they got enough air in the tires.
And the bearings roll
Yeah,
down.
they roll nicely.
I think we should put it on film. On
They're a lot of
the new
fun.
dolly.
New dollies are a lot of fun. You know
Oh
what?
yeah,
You
be
know
careful.
what? If I find on the way back, if I find they want on
If you find the one
75
that's
to
on
drop this
75?
week, then I bring it back for you.
Well,
Okay?
be careful because this could always happen.
How did a dolly end up on 75?
Oh, not just dollies. He lost kegs.
2
and
kegs
everything.
and a dolly.
How fast No, I don't want to know.
I don't want to know either. I do not want to know.
Here's the thing. Get one of those every time you close it, and it'll be good.
I'm having a beer nerd moment. I'm so in love with everything right about now.
I'm never leaving.
Yeah, so I was sitting in traffic, decided, oh, this lane next to me, it doesn't have any traffic in it. So I gas it to get out and around these cars. As soon as I do, 2 kegs go rolling backwards, just pop the tailgate open and fall out right there on the highway ramp.
And apparently the dolly too.
Yep, 2 kegs and dolly. I was looking in my rear view mirror, and one of the kegs is like following me down the highway, and one of them rolls over. One of them rolls over and slams into the retaining wall.
Surprisingly, by the time he gets back,
I went,
they're
made
gone.
a U-turn, got back, gone. Yeah. I mean,
totally believe that.
5 minutes later, they were gone. And people saw those kegs and they were like, awesome!
That's how excited people are about Franconia beer.
Yeah. Stealing it off the highway.
It's my lucky day.
Can you imagine? That could have been us. God dang it, we gotta get on 75 all the time.
Well, you just follow the trucks along and see if anything falls off.
We've known to follow the white truck.
Yeah. We make sure he's driving, apparently.
Then Cam explained to us the role of hops in beers.
It's almost hop time. I just went in there and weighed them out. This is our first edition of hops. This is going to be our bittering edition.
Have you explained to him that triple hops brewing?
Yeah, Dennis said something about it earlier. Yeah, the whole Miller triple hops brewing. Pretty much every single one of our beers is triple hopped. Most beers are triple hopped. Some beers are single hopped. Some beers are double hopped. It just really depends on what
It's a
beer you're
marketing
making.
ploy.
Yeah, it's completely a marketing ploy. But what this is going to be our bittering edition for the. This will be our first edition of hops, and it's basically just to kind of get a balance in the beer. If you didn't have any hops in beer, you would not be able to drink it. It would be overpoweringly sweet. Yeah. And so the bitterness from the hops mellows it out, evens out that sweetness, and so this first edition is just going to be to kind of add that bitterness in there, and then we'll do an edition later on, and that'll be the edition that we get our flavor and aroma from the hops from. But yeah, we don't use a whole lot of hops in our beers. We don't do any IPAs. We don't do anything like that. Since we do traditional German-style beers. Yeah. German-style beers tend to be a little more malt-focused than hop-focused, so we have a very efficient use of hops. If you were to be in one of the breweries that does really big IPA, even if you go down to Austin or something, like 512, they do a really good IPA, you would see them dumping a big bucket of hops in, not a little Tupperware container of hops in. And so, they get tons of hop flavor, tons of bitterness and everything. That's not what we're looking for in our beers. We do malt-focused beers, traditional German beers. And so the hops are kind of like the background spice. We don't want them to come through and punch you like in an IPA, but we want them to still be there to provide all the balance for a good, easy drinking beer. Yeah. It's time for us to add our first edition of hops, which is going to be the bittering edition of hops. Which is this I have here, and it's a really exciting process. Ready? Done.
It's so magical.
My favorite part is the aroma that starts coming out of the kettle when you add the hops, 'cause especially this variety. It's very citrusy smelling. I don't know. Most of it's going up the chimney, but we got a very citrusy hop here.
Very cool.
Yeah, and like I said, this is a smaller batch. Normally, I wouldn't be adding the hops when the kettle's only halfway full, but this is one of our smaller batches of beer that we do. So normally, I'm worried that it's gonna start jumping out the lid here at me while I'm boiling. But that's how you add hops. You dump them in.
Ta-da! Magical.
We're going on over whether or not we're gonna film Justin rolling kegs across the street.
Because they're short a dolly.
That apparently was lost because of Cam's crazy driving.
Although I was gonna say, maybe since you lost a dolly, you should roll the kegs across
I
the
went
street.
and bought that dolly this morning, and then Dennis took it.
Yeah.
I went and bought that dolly this morning because he was complaining about not having a
I
dolly.
wasn't complaining. I was
You're
simply
gonna get
stating
video
that we
of
don't
how
have
well
one.
Whining
Look
about
how
not
well
having
they
a dolly.
fit.
Look how well, yeah.
They fit the kegs into the Ultima perfectly. Or is this a...
No, you had it right.
Yeah, Ultima, there we go.
Or Monty.
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 Yeah.
There we go.
Well, it started with an A.
Very impressive.
Starts with an A. There was an I in
Yeah,
there. We're good.
Well, and the kegs are also smaller, a little bit smaller, but they are stackable, and I know you were saying something about that.
Yeah, they're
So-
German style kegs. German style kegs, 50 liters, a little smaller than American full keg. And because of that, and the way they're designed, the way they're built, once again, Europeans are actually conscientious about space and
They have to be. Yeah.
environmentally conscious, whatever else. So what they do is they have stackable kegs, so that way they use less space. So instead of needing a several million foot facility, they can get it done in several 100,000 feet instead.
Very cool.
So
All right.
cool.
So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
are the bids? Are we gonna? Are we filming or not filming?
here's the thing: if you're going with me,
If
Oh.
So if you wanna go-
if you want video of someone taking a keg to a bar, gonna be rolling it. Hey, think of it. That's the way they used to do before there were dollies and
yeah, but those roll a hell of a lot better.
and
than
kegs
these
were
do.
delivered, and we delivered all everything was in wooden kegs.
Okay, so you want me to go get a horse and carriage and do that too?
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't it? Watch your hand.
You go get a horse and carriage, and you deliver McKinney Square from now on.
That would be quite a spectacle. I bet, people probably want the beer just for that reason.
That's gonna be tight, dude.
We will be filming this, the rolling of the kegs.
All right, anytime
I heard that.
I said nothing.
Okay, I think we're ready to go.
Let's
so.
do it. You guys ready? Yeah. Next, it was time for us to make some deliveries.
Okay, typically it's not a good idea to leave beer laying out on the street, but I challenge anybody to lift those and get them out of here before I get back. So, all right, so.
Seeing how hard Justin had to work without a dolly, we decided to give him a hand. Those kegs are really heavy.
Justin had to squeeze into some tight spaces to get those kegs to their final destination.
The hard life of a brewer, but at least I get to drink all the beer. Unfortunately, or fortunately, Franconia is only available in more specialized beer places.
Such as this quaint English-style pub called Churchill's. Senia's having a drunken flashback.
Nice. So, this is their 4th keg in a week and a half.
Wow.
Okay. Done and done.
So now we're in Rockwall. This is, I think, the last keg of the trip, which beat me and Ty up pretty fiercely in the car. As we headed back to the brewery, Justin explained to us his respect for Dennis and for Franconia beers.
He could have gone anywhere he wanted to go to put that brewery up, and he chose McKinney, Texas, and you don't think, okay, well, McKinney, Texas.
Yeah. Oh, beer
Hotbreader brewing. But I got to tell you, as far as our beers go, I think we have some of the best craft beers around.
Not only did we learn about the brewing process at Franconia and taste some incredible beers, but we learned about a secret ingredient that the guys of Franconia seem to have down to a science: passion.
Thank you all for joining us on this episode of Beer Betties. I hope you get to enjoy some Franconia beer and join us next time.
Cheers!
Cheers.